Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari, I give thanks for your presence. I give thanks for the mystic vibration now with you in the Tiger's Nest, and we will go straight into it. We are definitely touching upon the subject today, being the hidden messages within the cartoons decoded in the Bible. I will not preempt it, I will go straight into it. Now, we did a presentation on the origin of the Bible. Who wrote the Bible is the name of that previous mystic vibration that we uploaded, and it would be good for an individual to at least have seen that episode of this series of programs entitled The Mystic Vibration in the Tiger's Nest. So if you have not seen the episode that we did entitled Who Wrote the Bible, and even the one prior to that, The Origin of Civilization, I would suggest that you get familiar with both of these documentaries, as well as the Master of Ceremonies and the documentary entitled Seven, which is the divinity of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And I'm telling you, the fact that, I'm stressing that you would see these documentaries shows that a lot of what we have covered in the two documentaries plus the mystic vibration episodes that I mentioned will be key to what we're going to speak of in this presentation here, as well as the first black hole, the original black woman, which is a lecture that we actually did at the Ma'at Center in Great Britain, there in London specifically. Now, the hidden messages within cartoons decoded in the Bible. Freemasonry is a term that is used a lot today. There is an individual by the name of Thomas Chippendale, and Thomas Chippendale was born in Otley in England in the 1700s, the early 1700s, about 1750. And Thomas Chippendale was described as a woodsman. He was a member of the craft, and he made furniture. He is well known, Thomas Chippendale, internationally for the Thomas Chippendale Furniture Company that exists today. But hundreds of years ago, a couple hundreds of years ago, Thomas Chippendale executed his gift, his art, his craft in creating cabinets, tables, chairs, beds, different sort of furniture. Thomas Chippendale. But how mystic it is that Thomas, like many artists of that time, were members of the Brotherhood. We all know of the Leonardo da Vinci's and the Michelangelos and the Isaac Newtons, and we can go on and on. All of these individuals, as I am sure many of you know, were members of the Brotherhood, of the craft as such, of one society or the other. People would refer to it today as Masonry. Some would say Freemasonry, and you would be surprised that both of these terms are not exactly the same. To be very honest, I think that the term Masonry and Freemasonry and Illuminati and these terms have been misused, used out of context in many different instances. Because in reality, first of all, and this is why again I would really point someone to previous works that we have done, just at least so that you could understand where we stand on the whole concept of language. It's important. Language is a very important part of your studies, just like geography. If you're dealing with history, and you have to deal with language and what language was spoken and what does it mean in this tongue, etc., etc. Very key. You see what people call the secret science. And there was a movie, I think it was Nicolas Cage is his name. It is, yeah, I think it's Nicolas Cage. Hidden Treasure? National Treasure. National Treasure. Nicolas Cage. Not National Treasure 2. I haven't even seen National Treasure 2. But I'm telling you, I am not the biggest of these movies fans, you know, the Matrix and all of that. Yeah, I mean, people say a lot of codes in the Matrix. Boy, the Matrix have a lot of codes. Believe me, the Flintstones have more codes. Scooby-Doo, I mean the original Scooby-Doo, have more hidden messages than the Matrix. Take it from me. Now, but if you watch National Treasure, and if you haven't seen it, take a look at it. A simple movie, you know, nothing too in-depth, to be honest. It's almost like a class, a crash course on exactly what Freemasonry, or not Freemasonry exactly, but secret science is all about. A crash course. It's like a crash course on what secret science, esoteric messages, subliminal messages is all about. National Treasure. Just watch it and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Now, if you could understand that, that's just level 1 of exactly what is taking place. When you say that the River Nile is in perfect alignment with the Milky Way, the Milky Way, you know, just understand that the Milky Way is the galaxy that we are in. We live in a galaxy. I am on an island. I'm in the Caribbean, the island of Antigua. I'm on an island in a chain of little islands on a planet that's in a solar system that is in a galaxy. When you look at the galaxy, you cannot even spot the solar system. And I'm showing you that the galaxy that we are in its spiral form, from the planet Earth, when you look up into the so-called sky at night, when the moon is not around and it's dark and you see the brilliance of the stars and the other galaxies, there is the clouded river that passes over the heavens. It's the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is perfectly aligned with the River Nile. I'm just showing you now, that's obviously the hand of the Almighty, the hand of the intelligent essence that created all things. So obviously this power that was put in motion, that the River Nile, which is outstanding itself too, that's the Milky Way of the planet Earth. The river of milk the Bible speaks of, that's what you call secret science. The Bible speaks of a river of milk. Where's the river where the cows are spraying milk into the river to keep it going? There's no river of milk nowhere, but there is a river on the planet that is perfectly aligned with the celestial river of milk. That's how you figure it out. You know, everything before you is like a riddle and a code, you know. Watch Batman. That's why they say, holy smokes, Batman. I figured it out. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. What's the holy smoke? You gotta come from the holy herb. So what I'm saying here, that the Almighty then, we refer to the Almighty by different terms that are not the best of terms, but just for conversation's sake. God, you know, is the original esoteric master, the original chief scientist. For it is God that has put the River Nile, the River Nile, you know, a speck in the galaxy, and align it perfectly with the galaxy, at least from where you appear to look at it from the planet Earth. The sun, you know, 93 million miles from the planet Earth, yet still the sun 99% of the mass of the solar system. That means the rest of the planet is the 1%, and anything else that's in the solar system is 1% of the mass of the solar system. Yet the sun appears to be the same size as the moon from where we are. What do you mean? That's why when you have an eclipse, they perfectly, eclipse each other. They appear to be the same size. So that's why when you take a United States quarter, so we're out of the realms of God now, we come down to human beings, people that print money and make money. So when you take a United States quarter now, and you hold it at an average arm's length, it would appear as if the quarter and a full moon is the same size. You get the science. Now those who minted the money were considered Masons. They deal with secret science, esoteric messages, and the original Grand Master, which is the Creator, created the sun and created the moon and created the planet that we are on here, and everything is so aligned that from where we are here, it just seems like our moon and the sun is the same size, taking in consideration the distance of both sun and moon from this planet in connection with each other, the distance from the sun and the moon at any given time. It's a deep science, plus their size. All of that is taken into consideration, and that's why from Earth it looks like the sun and the moon is the same size. That's the hand of the great architect, the original heavenly sculptor there. So then when you look at the science of the 25 cents now, the quarter as it's called in the United States currency, with George Washington on it, a heap of science in the money alone, a heap of science. So the quarter and the moon appears to be the same size at arm's length. What's the science there? 4 quarters make $1. 4 25-cent pieces with George Washington's profile on it makes $1 with George Washington's picture on it. 4 quarters. So that's the moon there. If you understand the science of the moon, you got your first quarter, you have your last quarter, you have 4 quarters, to get to that full moon and new moon back again and all of that. The moon is divided into quarters, 28 days, 4 weeks as they call it. 28 days is really the cycle of a month. That's why the month and moon, M is moon, and TH, like, the 24th, the 25th month. The month is the cycle. The month really represents the moon. That's why you have 13 moons or 13 months really in the 365 day cycle of the sun. So all of that is the ancient science of God, and I'm just trying to show you that the science now, this secret science, is all around us. All around us. It's all around us. So don't be ashamed to deal with the esoteric messages. And that is why from ancient times we actually expressed the science in our glyphs, in our ancient writings, in our ancient Medu Neter. Alright. But as you could see, the killer is making his little quarters now and trying to catch up. Follow me good. So of course, I have some documentaries on the internet. I did a documentary entitled, a lecture really, Fairy Tale Folly Days and Nursery Crimes. I do not have it actually on my YouTube site. I never uploaded it, but it's on a couple of different YouTube sites out there, and that is no problem to me. Let me make that clear. I'm very thankful for anyone who thinks that the work that that I put out is worthy to be uploaded on their site, I'm all for that. I'm very thankful. That's why I put it out so individuals can see it. So I'm very thankful. So there, you can just search for it, fairy tale. I don't think they labeled it fairy tale folly days and nursery crimes though. I think they labeled it Illuminati in cartoons, something of the sort, or history of the Illuminati, really. Well, that would not be the title I would have given it, but what it is, I did run through briefly, which is still like a 15 minutes worth of the history of the Illuminati, and I don't want to do that here. So you could just check that documentary. It's right there, you know, you could just punch in Honorable Precise fairy tales and Illuminati something. You'll find it, man. Just check it out. But I explained there properly what I'm going to skip over now quickly. You know, basically when it comes to the science of the Kabbalah itself, of course, is what some would refer to as a Jewish magic book, and many people credit the Kabbalah, you know, the science within the Kabbalah, the magic and the hymns and the spells that are in the Kabbalah. Many people credit the Kabbalah as well as the foundation of the formation, being very clear here, of the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, the Knights Templars. And you know, we go into the history where these Knights Templars, you know, coming through the Kabbalah taken from Isaac the Blind by the 9 monks, you know, forming themselves into a government within a government, you know, their signet or their flag or banner being that big red cross at with the what you call it, the white backdrop, and of course their leader being burned at the stake at the time, Jacques de Molay. And of course, so we're talking about 12th, 13th century in the whole history engulfed here that I'm speaking of, during the time of the King of France, Philip, and Urban, Pope Urban, you know. And after their leader was destroyed, the Knights of the Templars went underground and they hid themselves, and they surfaced again under many names and different guises. Now what I'm going to tell you is a little off the history track, but you could say it's my opinion. That's just up to you. But you see, the Knights of the Templars, basically, as I said, from the concept of the Knights of the Temples of Solomon, really, if you understand the Knights of the Temples of Solomon, and the Temple of Solomon is said to have been built by the great Hiram Abiff. And of course, anyone that's connected or know anything about masonry will know that Hiram Abiff is a key figure, and him being assaulted by 3 of his subordinates, workmen, with different tools, mallets and square and different things. That's why the square and the compass are seen as symbols of Freemasonry. And so Hiram Abiff being a key figure there, the build of Solomon's temple, which is said to have been built, you know, geometrically sound and well aligned with the cosmos. So whatever the case is, that is really the philosophical foundation of these people here. But they grew themselves into a powerful army, a government within a government in Europe. That is why they became a threat to the establishment, to the point that they had to slew their leader, and literally the war broke out and the Knights had to run underground, as it was said. But I'm showing you that they became a force to be reckoned with. So obviously they became a government within a government. You could say a civilization as such, with infrastructure and different things. And they had a specific type of way of building, which is referred to as the Gothic style of building. It's Gothic, you know. That's why I'm showing you even the term God is a Gothic word. You know, God again is really the name of a person, you know, man. G-A-U-T, a general, God, who has been deified into the so-called God. See how the language is so confusing, called Odin. But Odin wasn't a god. There was no god. God is a specific deity named God. It's just around 1500 they decided to, change the name of the Almighty, and they said, listen, let's give him the name God. And God won the prize. And so that's why sometimes when you see pictures of the white God, like what Michelangelo drew, technically that is God, that is God when you really look at it. That's God. Because who is God? It's a German deity. God is a German deity. Don't get upset. God is a German deity. The all creative being, and we're still using English, but just to be clear, the all creative being, the essence that put everything in motion, its name is not God, her name is not God. God is a German being. So that's a Gothic word. I'm just showing you, it's all a part of the subject here. So the Gothic now, I'm just showing you that the Gothic way of building was a key part of the Knights of the Templars. And it is said that even within the building of many of the churches in Europe, that similar style of building that the Knights of the Templars used in their day can still be seen in the Protestant churches, including the Anglican churches and Moravian, and Methodists, and all the different, if you want to say, medieval churches. That ancient type of building, the Gothic style, can be seen. Okay. We return now to Thomas Chippendale. Thomas Chippendale himself was what is referred to as I said, a woodsman. And he was known for taking wood and making the furniture from the wood. Many of you would know that the acorn, for those who study the occult, the acorn is a key symbol as well. Masonry, just like the pillars, the Corinth and the Doric, the Boaz and Jachin, the acorn is a key symbol. Now, the cartoons that they call Chip and Dale, Chip and Dale the Chipmunks, I am saying, have been created specifically by Walt Disney to deify, to keep alive the name of Thomas Chippendale, born in Otley 1700, I think it's 14 or 15 thereabouts. I will put it up so you know exactly when officially. But Thomas Chippendale himself, as an individual, was renowned for taking wood and changing it into not just furniture, but furniture in the Gothic style. That's the key word, in the Gothic style. Remember, this is secret science now, hidden messages in public view, but yet not seen. So the power is now that he, not using bricks, but using wood, was able to preserve and express that message of the craft to those who would know and should know. Yes, I do not know his ranks, but he was a member of the Brotherhood. So Thomas Chippendale, Chippendale, living trees. And you will see the importance of trees as we go along. Chip and Dale live in trees, and Chip and Dale eat the acorn. And Chip and Dale are twins. And Thomas, Thomas means twins. Thomas Didymus means twin. Thomas Didymus, it's in one of the forgotten book of Thomas, wherein they have chapter and verse where they discuss, how Thomas looks so much like the Messiah that he's considered the twin of Christ. Thomas Chippendale are twins, and Thomas Chippendale is the woodsman. He kept that Gothic science in clear view, but he did it in wood. He has been deified, and this sort of deification can be seen in many different forms. Yes, I know when many people look at the cartoons, they say, boy, when you watch Lion King and when you watch this and that, you see a lot of sexual messages and so hidden in the background. We see all of that. But when the Knights of the Templars were running at a specific time in history, they got refuge from the Scottish king, Robert the Bruce, the King of Scotland. And Robert the Bruce gave them refuge in the Bruce Cave. And if you go to Scotland today, you can still go on a tour and see the world famous Bruce Cave, where Robert the Bruce hid the Knights of the Templars. He has been deified in Batman. Batman, Bruce Wayne, is Robert the Bruce, Robin and Bruce. Batman and Robin, Robin and Bruce. The King of Scotland, Bruce Wayne, Robert the Bruce. Robin and Bruce, Robin and Bruce. Robert the Bruce, same person. The King of Scotland. Great Scots, Batman, you figured it out. Great Scots, holy smokes. Great Scots, Robert the Bruce. The Great Scots, the King of Scotland. The Gothic city. The Gothic Scotland is Gotham. Batman. The Bruce Cave. The Bat Cave. This is just the warm up, for us to get an idea. We haven't gone into the depths yet. We're just kind of laying a foundation, so when we begin, you could see exactly, where we are headed with this. So he has been deified by his own in science, in sorcery, in witchcraft, in cartoons. Mommy, can I watch some cartoons? Of course, Billy, just, yeah. Comic books. You are what you read. So what I'm saying, comics, yeah. These individuals have been almost brought to a godlike status. And we can go into the Hulk and Superman and a heap of them, but that's not really what this is about. This is about, yes, the hidden messages in cartoon, decoded in the scriptures of the Bible. Now a little deeper now. You see, the reason why we highlighted Walt Disney is because Walt Disney is said to have been a member of the craft as well. Some say he had the rank of a 33rd degree Mason. I've seen that documented, and a few documentaries on it. I don't know that for sure. It may be so. He is responsible for the not really creation of, but taking many old fairy tales and putting a new light to them, a spin as such. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, different stories. And you would understand that these fairy tales are God figures. That's why many of them die and come back to life. Snow White died, come back to life. Sleeping Beauty, dead, come back to life. Pinocchio didn't really die, but as such, but he wanted to be a real boy. Let's start with Pinocchio. You see, this is why, you know, when we were younger, we had different storybooks that we were reading, at least here in the Caribbean, from the original Mother Goose, the Brothers Grimm, and different books on Pinocchio and these different ones outside of Walt Disney. So what I'm going to tell you now is what I can remember myself, and if you do your research, you will find the brother in Pinocchio, not brother really, but the individual in Pinocchio that you call Geppetto. Geppetto is a woodsman, just like Thomas Chippendale. Geppetto is the head of all fairy tales, you know. Man, this is serious. The story says that Geppetto lived in what was called the homeland. There's a movie I see them just bringing out now called The Homeland. And if you want to know when it's now, this is just the beginning of what do you call it, January. I'm recording this just to let you know on the 4th of January 2017. Yes, I celebrated my well, not celebrated, I'm still celebrating my birthday. We go 7 days. So my birthday, or what we call Earth Day celebration, goes straight even into Christmas. So my Earth Day, 2nd of January, so I celebrated my Earth Day. Good. Give thanks. So I'm saying now, this homeland is where Geppetto lives, and Geppetto has acres of magic trees. And Geppetto would take the magic trees, cut them down, and Geppetto would create wooden puppets, not wooden dolls, wooden soldiers. So what Geppetto did now, Geppetto had different fairy tales, because they're different worlds. You have the homeland, you have the fairyland or fairy world, listen good, and then you have the real world, which is supposedly where we are. So anyway, there was a great coup in the homeland, and many of the fairies and wooden puppets and some of the soldiers in his armies broke ranks with Mr. Geppetto, and they were banished to the center world, or the middle world, which is the fairy world. So Geppetto now, he had one of his chief soldiers, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga was something like a witch sort of individual. So before we get to Baba Yaga now, Geppetto took a tree now. After half of his contingent went to the fairy world, he took a tree and Geppetto carved one puppet, which he considered here, this is going to be my son. This is some deep stuff, you know. And Geppetto's son was, of course, you guessed it, Pinocchio. Now, I think this is a good time for me to mention that Geppetto actually means Joseph. Good. So Geppetto carved Pinocchio from his magic garden, the magic trees, and Pinocchio was, yes, a puppet. And he told Pinocchio not to trouble the trees. Do not go into the garden. Don't touch them. And Pinocchio disobeyed. And because of his disobedience, Pinocchio was banished to the real world. Now, I mean, I know many ones will be listening and laughing and saying, what kind of crazy? But listen, hold on. Hold on, how is it so crazy? I'm sure you sat down as a little child, and even if you didn't, I mean, well, most people did, and watched the Pinocchio movie. You watched it. It took millions of dollars for them to make that so you could sit down and watch it. They didn't waste all of that money just to invade. Yes, they made money too, but they have a deeper agenda. Now, what I'm telling you, I'm not telling you this for you to laugh and even make mockery of what I'm saying. To be honest, this is not the bedtime story at all I would prefer to tell you. But I got to tell it to you just in case you have forgotten it, because a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you never heard it from this angle. So I'm just showing you originally how it goes. The original Pinocchio, you know, man, was swallowed by a fish. Just consider that. Consider that. You know, the original Pinocchio was swallowed by a fish. Walt Disney's Pinocchio is swallowed by a whale. And there's a reason for that. I mentioned this in a previous episode. So I'm showing you now, after he came into the real world, he hooked up with Little Boy Blue and all of these things, I'm telling you. Geppetto, or Joseph, asked Baba Yaga to go down to retrieve Pinocchio. And Baba Yaga disguised herself as Red Riding Hood and went down to the real world, pardon me, via the fairy world. Now there's a lot more to all of that. Pinocchio returned back after becoming the real boy, and one of the things is that Pinocchio carved a bug out of the trees before he was banished. You know, in the movies they have Jiminy Cricket as the bug, you know, and the bug is really symbolic of Kepra. Alright, so that's really how the Pinocchio story goes in a nutshell. Put that aside. In the Bible, there's the story of Esau and Jacob. Now, because many people, you know, are not really into their Bibles, I'm sure many ones listening to me, I'm not into no Bible thing, you know, brother, I don't read. Okay, good. Well, since you don't, let me tell you the story then. There's a story of Abraham. And Abraham had a son called Isaac. And Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Now, when Esau was hungry at a certain point, Esau came to Jacob and begged him some of his food. And Jacob said, well, listen, man, you gotta give me or sell me or exchange your birthright for you to get any of what I'm cooking here. And Esau eventually did, and Jacob gave him the food and got his birthright. Then there's another instance now where Isaac is growing old and is blind, and Esau, which is really the elder one, came before him and he told Esau, well, listen, it's time for me to bless you, you know that? Yeah, well, that's what I came for, Daddy. And he said, okay, I'm old right now, can't see. I want you to go and bring some venison which I love, which is supposedly deer meat, and then I'll eat it and then I'll move on. And he went with his bow and arrow and went looking for the deer according to the scripture, the venison for his father. The story says that the mother, the wife of Isaac, which is Rebecca, overheard the conversation, and she went to Jacob, who she loved, and by the way, God loved Jacob too. He didn't pay too much attention to Esau. He hated Esau. In fact, God hated Esau. Hated Esau, me I tell you. And he loved Jacob. Yes. So Jacob now, Jacob's mother, which is Esau's mother, really, I mean, I'm telling you, came to Jacob and said, listen, your father is going to bless Esau. Well, Esau was the firstborn, isn't that the regular stuff? Listen, if you want the blessing, we can trick your father, you know. Okay, this is Bible I'm talking about. We can trick your father. What we will do, we will kill 2 kids, which is 2 goats, goats now, goats, not people, not the people kids. That's why you shouldn't call your children kids. But anyway, 2 goats, and we're going to take the hair off of the goat and make a cloak or covering for you and put them on the skin. We're going to put on the skin of the goat. Listen good, Jacob is going to put on the skin of the goat and come before his father. And that's what he did. Jacob put on the skin of the goat and came before Isaac and said, well, this is Jacob here. No, sorry, this is Esau. So he told his father that this is Esau here. And Isaac said, okay, you feel like Esau, you know. And yes, but sounds like Jacob, because Esau now is considered to have been red and hairy. Jacob was not red nor hairy, assumingly, but Esau was red and hairy. And Esau now, many people would say Esau was the white man and Jacob is the black man. Listen, please, I want you to comprehend, because I like people to get what I'm saying. Even if that is so, I'm looking at this on another level. These scriptures are not playthings, you know. They have different dimensional understanding. So I'm showing you now, Esau was hated by the Creator. Jacob was loved by the Creator. To the point that you see that when Esau was going to be blessed and he went to look for the food, that his mother, acting on the spirit of the Creator, went to her younger son and said, hey, the blessing belongs to you. Kill a goat, put on the skin, bring it to Isaac. Isaac said, you sound like Jacob, you know, but you feel like Esau. And he brought the same goat that they kill, or kids, and brought the meat to Isaac, already stewed down, and he ate it, and he said, boy, this is the best venison I ever had. Just spicing it up a bit. And he blessed Jacob. So Jacob got the blessing that Esau went to get kill the venison and bring it back. The blessing he was to get, pardon me, went to Jacob, and Jacob left and Esau returned, and Esau said, what happened? And Isaac, eating his goat meat, said, boy, you late, you know. This is nice. You're late, man. Where were you? Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you may, I mean, that's it, because listen, I'm going to repeat what I've repeated several times. Saint Paul says in Galatians 4, specifically speaking about Abraham and his wife Sarah and Haggai, the handmaid, he clearly says that that story is an allegory. Saint Paul the Great, you understand? He said that. Now what I'm drawing, you know, because I'm not going to argue about if it's a literal story at the moment, but what I know, it is allegory. Because something being highly symbolic doesn't mean there's not a literal aspect to it, you know. It's just that what happened in the literal sense has a strong esoteric tone that accompanies it. You understand? So even if you, how should I say now? Wow. Even if you see something literal, say for example, I'm going to use this case. Moses splitting the Red Sea and passing through the Red Sea. So even if you think that is what literally took place, let us just say that's historically true. Let us just say that's exactly what happened, that Moses left from Egypt and he waved the wand and the river, not the river, but the Red Sea that you know today burst into and they passed across. And then it went back down. Even if you think that is true, because I personally do not see that what I just described to you is what happened. I'm telling you. But let's just say that is what happened. Alright. But that does not mean that that literal story doesn't have more than what has met the eye. You could say, well, what could meet the eye more than the whole sea busting in two and we crossing? That has a symbolic tone to it as well. An esoteric tone. An allegorical tone, which we will get into before we are done here. You know, good. But I don't see the story as you may see it on the movie and all of that. No, that is not what I see at all. No, I don't. I know that has stepped on the toes of many believers, but that's just up to you. I'm not here to fight what you believe, you know. I'm just here to tell it as it is. And when I make certain points like that, I like to prove my case and my point, you know. I don't just like to say, this is what I think and move on. I like to drop the facts behind that, so I will come to that. If not this time around, I will get to all of that in the future. Don't worry. But I'm going to touch upon the esoteric understanding of the Red Sea and busting through the Red Sea before we leave. It's very important. Good. So, as I'm saying now, Abraham, Sarai, allegory. Abraham, Haggai, Ishmael. He's a part of that whole story. Allegory again. He has a brother that allegory. And his brother Isaac is the father of Jacob, and he's allegory all the way through, yo. This ain't nothing to baffle about. We're dealing with secret science. So let's get our mind away from killing the goat. Is it a goat or two kids? I think it's two kids. Well, if it's not, it's a goat. But let's put killing the animal aside literally and pulling off the skin and putting it on, and I don't know, the skin has to be dried, you know. That's going to have a kind of foul smell. And then going in, as I said in a previous episode that I did, if you were to build Noah's Ark, according to the dimensions given in the Bible, not your own, not building it as big as you can, according to the dimensions, and you get 2 of every animal, excluding all insects. And that's a lot. The insects, hey, that's plenty, man. 2 of every ant. Ooh, you crazy, man. There are more insects than anything that exists. But we're going to leave the insects out. And then you get 2 of every other animal. Cut that in half. A quarter of what you have remaining would not fit in that boat that you have built according to the size of the dimensions of the Bible. It has been done. Well, they have built something similar according to the dimensions. I mean, they didn't try to get every 2 animals, but I mean, you could just look at it and see, man, come on, it ain't gonna work. You know how much animals on the planet? Well, that happened 6,000 years ago. No, it ain't 6,000 years ago. The world is 6,000 years old. Oh yes. It happened 4,000 years ago. Yes, it happened 5,000 years ago. Right, good. Good. No, the world is not no 6,000 years old. I'm just going according to what we are expected to believe. So if we are expected to believe this was 4,000 years ago, there were more species of animals then, you know. In the last 100 years alone, you know, at least 5 or 6 different types of the holy tiger has vanished, man. Rhinoceros, the elephant, even the lions, man. Different species of the fish in the water, different types of penguins, bears. You just watch the different reports on the animals that are endangered. The gorilla, the silverback. So in essence, they're finding species of animals every day, yes. But they're losing many animals daily as far as the different types. You understand? So listen, the point is, listen. The point is, 4,000 years ago is not no vast difference than now. That's the point. The point is you cannot fit 2 of every unclean and 7 of every clean animals into that boat that was built according to that dimension. Allegory, and we showed that it is the same exact story as Nuh carrying the bark, and Nuh is the name of Noah in Arabic. Check the previous documentaries. So I'm saying now that in a documentary we did entitled The Black Woman's Presence in African Concept of God, we showed in an ancient theology you have the science of the man being Hu and the woman being Sa. The constellation of Gemini is called Castor and Pollux. In Kemet, Gemini represents Shu and Tefnut. You know, a man and a woman, Castor and Pollux are 2 little boys. You see? You understand? So the true story of Gemini has nothing to do with Castor and Pollux, because Castor and Pollux have their own story. 2 little boys. Gemini, the constellation as we call it, Shu and Tefnut, or Hu and Sa, is a man and a woman holding hands. And when Alexander the Fake came into Kemet, they changed this concept. This is why Gemini became 2 little boys. In your horoscope, your astro misguide. So Hu and Sa, male and female. Hu is male, which represents fire. Sa is female, represent water. Follow me good, please. We're going to go through this swiftly. Sa now, symbolic of the water. Now you know that you are water. You're made up of 70 to maybe 85% water. But whatever amount percentage of water you're made up of is the same percentage of water that you have on the planet. So let's just say you're made up of 80% water. The planet is made up of 80% water. The sea water specifically. You're made up of earth, wind, water, and fire. The planet is made up of the same. So you're made up of the elements that the planet is made up of, and you're also made up of the sub-elements, the same sub-elements that the planet is made up of. Wonderful. Okay, so that means you are one with the planet. Remember, matter cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be destroyed. Even when a person so-called dies, they're not destroyed. They release gases, liquid, and as you know, they return to the elements only when you lock them up in these mahogany boxes and all of these different things without preserving them. Well, that's the next story altogether. So the water that makes you up obviously is your blood, the rivers and streams and the lakes and the oceans within you. Your blood, even your organs are really blood, made up blood. So you're made up of 70 to 80% water and the planet. Now the salinity of the sea water is said to be similar to the salinity of your blood. Salinity means saltiness. Now check the science. The salinity as such is so deep that in some science I've seen doctors in debates and giving lectures speak about the whole aspect of people losing blood and replacing it with the salt water. Now if you notice, Sa represents water, and if you look at the word sea and you take the E from sea, you get Sa. Okay, you may say, okay, alright, that's a good trick. Alright. Now remember, as I said, the salinity of the seawater is similar to the salinity of your blood. Okay, that's salt. Salinity, salt. Sa is the feminine aspect. The water, the who and the sa, the fire and the water. Sa. It is said in ancient science that all the saviors come out of Sa, because in this terminology here, Sa means water in this sense. And all the saviors do come out of water. That's why you see the Vishnu coming out of the water, coming out of the Nun, coming out of the fish. This is why you see specifically the Jonah coming out of the water, coming out of the fish. That's why Pinocchio was swallowed by the fish, coming out of the water. So all the saviors come out of Sa. Saviors begin with Sa as well, just like salt and salinity. Sa. Saviors, they come to save. S-A-V-E, save, Sa. You know, so they come with Sa, salvation, Sa. You know, they come to sanctify. I'm sure they will have a sanctuary, Sa. Because everything that is sacred, Sa, like it begins with Sa. Even a Sa, sacrifice, is sacred. The same Isaac was to be a Sa, sacrifice. So if you understand, you know, Sabbath, Sa. And Sabbath is on the Saturday, Sa. And you should check my video, The Metaphysics of the Sabbath. Sa. So Sa now, the water. All the saviors come out of the Sa. Now I'm trying to show you that Sa is also symbolic not just of water. This is very important. Sa is not just water. What type of water? Salt water. Now if you notice again, your blood has the same salinity, this is very key, as the salt water or the seawater. Now I went into the science of it there because it's deep. That is why it is seen now as the feminine principle as well. Maria means water. In Latin, Maria is water. That is why Miriam. When it says Miriam is Mary and Mariam. So when it says Christ was born from Mary, it's like saying Christ was born from the waters, you know. So Isa ibn Maryam. Remember, as I said in a previous episode, I was showing you that Maryam in the Quran is the sister of Aaron and the sister of Moses, the daughter of Imran. This is very deep. And she had a son called Yahushua or Isa or Joshua. And Joshua is Moses' young protege, and he's called the son of Nun. Nobody? Nun. N-U-N, Nun. Oh, he's the son of a nun. Wow, deep stuff. The son of Nun, which represents the water again coming out of the fish, Joshua. You know, allegory we dealing with. We're dealing with the allegorical aspect. If you're trying to put history together, no, we're not in a history class at the moment. That's maybe in a few minutes or so, but we're in the allegorical class. So Yahushua or Jesus or Isa ibn Maryam, the son of Mary, who is the sister of Aaron. He's the son of Nun. This is deep, the son of Nun. So when you speak of Jesus, the son of Mary, Buddha, the son of Maya, all of these words mean water and illusion. You know, Moses is a word that means to be drawn out of water. Moses means to be drawn out of water. Moses, M-O-S-E-S, Moses. That's why he met God in the burning bush. One of these days we're going to go deeper into that. But anyway, he was drawn out of the water. That's why we use the chalice. You draw the Moses out of the water. No spliffy thing here. But anyway, Moses, keep on target, priest. stick to the subject. Moses was drawn out of the water. This is why when he was sent up the river, water again, his sister Miriam, which means water, followed him. Allegory, esoteric science we're dealing with here. The secret message now within the story. So I'm showing you the importance of the water, the science of the water, the connection with the sea and your blood. This is why now, when Lot was coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah, he was in Sodom specifically. Now Sodom means salt. Sodom? Sodom, S-D-M, Sodom, is sodium. Sodium and Sodom. It means salt. You see, this is the heights. This is why before we get to Lot, let me show you. You see the term na in what you call Latin means to swim, and it means to be born. Na, please follow me good. Na means to swim and it means to be born. Good. Na, this is why you see the word na dealing with things, dealing with swimming, like na, navy, N-A, na, navy, or let me see, naval, you know, natatorium, which is a swimming pool, na. Then to be born, na, nationality, na, nativity, native, you get a name, na, good. Now even the navel, what we call the umbilical cord, but you know, in the Caribbean we say your navel string, you know. But anyway, that navel as such, the cord, if you notice its connection to the uterus, life-giving, you've been fed through that cord, you know, as a child in your mother's womb. You were looking to be born and you were swimming in water. Na means to be born, na means to swim. Do you get that? This is very important, you know. Na means to be born, na means to swim. You're going to be born and you were swimming in the baggage of water. That's why when they say her water bag burst, you know, okay. Na is the chemical symbol for salt, Na, sodium, salt, Na, na, to be born, to swim, good. And salt itself, sodium, I was showing you that they were coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah, or Sodom and Gomorrah, SDM, sodium, Sodom. And when they came out of Sodom, what happened? God told her, well, he told Lot, he told the family not to look back. And she, the wife, looked back and she turned into a pillar of na, or pillar of salt, or pillar of sodium. When she looked back at Sodom, she turned to sodium. Now, allegory, don't lose it. Some people say you can go to Sodom today and see the same pillar standing up. I question all of that. Come on, I definitely am not with that. But I'm with what I'm saying here. So now, very key. Don't lose this now. In Revelation, there are different instances where it speaks about the fire coming down and touching the water, and the water turned into blood. A star falling and it hit the rivers and the lakes turned red. Lightning hitting the water and the water turned into wormwood and you know, different things. I may not have them exactly, but you know the picture. There's a specific chapter and verse where those that were slain, the martyrs, they were underneath the altar, and there was an angel with a censer in his hand, or a chalice. Censer, the Bible says though. And he took the coal from off of the altar, and the angel put the coal in the censer, and it went up to heaven with the prayers of the saints. The saints were under the altar, and they wanted to know when will they come again to avenge their very death. Remember, these were souls, you know, not people, just souls under the altar of the Almighty, wanting to know when they're going to return to get the job done. And the angel told them just a little while. And then he took the censer with the coal from the altar, and he threw this censer to the earth, and it hit the sea. And what happened when it hit the sea? The water turned to blood. The seawater turned red. Follow me good. The fire that left the heavens represents your spirit and your soul. I don't have a soul, brothers and sisters. I don't have one. I am a soul. I have a body, a goodie that I occupy, but I have a soul. This goodie was born 19 something something. This soul existed. I can't even put numbers on how long my soul has been here. I've occupied several anatomies before. So I am a soul. So when the soul now, your life force, your spirit comes from the heavenly planes and it hits the seawater, not necessarily the beach, not necessarily the ocean, but your father and your mother copulate. Your father's sperm touches the egg of your mother, and your physical being, the flesh that you will occupy, begins to form. And then the fire, listen please, the fire, the same sensor that's filled with your prayers, your wishes. You want to come here, man. You ask when you're coming back. So all of that is coming down and it touches the womb of mommy. And then you begin to be, you are forming now already in the womb. The spirit comes and joins the body. No abortion here now, you're killing people. So the seawater now, keep in mind you are made up of the elements of the planet. That's why we began on this segment of this episode showing you. You are made up of not just the same elements, but the same ratio of Gaia, of Tira, of Geb, Seb. You're made up of the same elements and sub-elements as the planet Earth, as well as the same ratio as the planet Earth as well. So I'm showing you your blood. This is why I took time to explain that the seawater salinity is the same as your blood, not just the ratio, not just the percentage, but down to the makeup is similar, to the point that you could replace your lost blood with the seawater and you continue to tick. Very important. So your mother did not have to go to the ocean and drink buckets of seawater to make up your blood, you know. No, that's not the point. She didn't even have to eat fish. The point is that yes, what you eat is so important, and this is why what you eat is so important, so you could get the elements and sub-elements, sea vegetables and sea moss, very key for a pregnant woman. Red raspberry and the leaves, very necessary for a pregnant woman. Okra, not boiled till it's slimy and you can't find it in a man, very important for a pregnant woman. You're made up of the elements of the earth. The elements are in these foods. The elements is naturally in the woman. And that is how you're forming the eyes, nose, ears, and all what's inside of you coming to its fullness. The seawater, listen please, the seawater turned to blood. You got to tell, you have to get the point by now. I'm sure everyone got the point. The fire from heaven came down, and when I say heaven, and I don't mean necessarily up in the sky, but that's a good way to watch it, because that's where the falling star come from. And it hit the sea water specifically, and it turned to blood. And 9 months after, you were born. You were born, given a name, to born and to swim. You came into this plane, into this dimension, this third dimension. What's the first miracle Christ did? He turned water into wine. He turned water into red wine. The first miracle, allegory, symbolism. And that's why people would say that you are very vain when you are, let's say, taken up with your physical self. That's why the mirror, where you go and beautify yourself, they call it a vanity. Your vanity, your vein, your blood runs through your vein. The vein, the red blood, is symbolic of your physical self. So Adam is red. Adam is the red man. Adam means red, really. Some scriptures say that Adam was made from red clay. Some people argue that it's black clay, but hey, listen. You see, this is when we try to put some sort of level of validity to the history here. I mean, hey, allegory, man, allegory. Adam in the garden. He was in a garden like Pinocchio. Adam now, we're getting back to Pinocchio. Adam now, the red man, he himself came from clay. And the scripture said, you know, that Adam was formed from Ha-Adamah, which is a feminine form of Adam. So when you say about the Bible say Adam, the woman come from the man, no, the Bible say Adam came from Ha-Adamah. People would say it's the earth, okay, but Ha-Adamah, it's Adam in a feminine form. It's Adam in a feminine form, Ha-Adamah. So what I'm saying though, Adam was red. Adam touched the tree. The Masonic fruit is the apple. It's no apple really, but that's the Masonic fruit. That's what it's called, you know. The big apple is the Masonic fruit, man. We're getting to the apple now, but not here. Because Adam now, they say when he had to leave the garden, what did he do? He put on skins. He put on skins. Then he came down to the other plane. Remember, you know, when your fire leaves the heavenly plane and it hit the earth, you become a red man. You become an Adam too. A red being. The red is symbolic of your blood. Doesn't necessarily mean your skin is red. It's symbolic of you being a red man. That's why I went through all what I just went through a while ago. David is seen as ruddy. Well, you could take it that way if you want. But David is highly symbolic of the Almighty and his throne. Okay, good. Jacob represents the Spirit of God. Esau represents the Spirit of God in flesh. This is why he loved Jacob, but he hated Esau. And many people that deal with metaphysics, especially, again, I will repeat, those that are into the occult, they would tell you that the world that you live in when you are born and to the time when you are you die is like a prison world. You're in prison, you know. Imagine being in a world where you get hungry and you get tired and you get sick and nobody here to help you and that kind of thing. I don't totally agree with that, you know. I understand what they're trying to say, but no, I don't really agree with that. But anyway, I don't want to stick on the point, but what I'm saying is that, so when you're in the spiritual world, they consider that you are free then. You know, especially if your spirit is right with the Lord of the spirits. You are free to, I guess, roam in the spirit realm. No bills to pay, or, you know, you're not getting tired, you're not hungry, whatever it is. So, some customs, they consider what you are living now, what we call alive, as being dead. So that's when people born, they cry and say, oh boy, you had to come on this battlefield, but anyway, we're thankful that you're here. And when they die, they rejoice. They won't be bawling down the place like how we have it. Oh, Frank Carter coming back. No, they ain't crying for nobody. They're happy. Especially if you went off nice and good, boy, they're happy. They're singing and saying, yes, give thanks, though, hope you don't have to come back here again. I'm sure you could at least follow that whole analogy, even if you may not agree with it in that sense. You know, I could understand it for sure. Good. So I'm saying Jacob represents that Spirit of God. He loved Jacob. He hates Esau. Jacob now, before Jacob could be blessed, Jacob had to put on the skin. Adam put on skin and he came down. Jacob put on the skin. Adam is the red man. Jacob put on the skin of Adam. Esau. Oh, pardon me. Edom. Okay, yeah, Edom. Okay, yes, Esau is Edom too. What does Edom mean? Edom means red. What does Adam mean? The red man. Edom and Adam is the same word. It's an E and an A. Vowels. We know the science of the vowels. So Edom means red. Edom, Esau, is the red man. And Jacob, for Jacob to be blessed, he put on the skin of Edom or Esau. Hold on. Hold on. Now I just said that Nu in Arabic is the name that we call Noah or Noe. Nu, N-U. And Nu is the name of the original Noah that can be seen on our ancient glyphs. So I just explained the Miriam and the Mariam and the Mary and the Maya and how there is this strong connection therein. Please listen to the science. Now Esau. Esau is the son of Mary. That's Esau's mother's name. No, Esau and Jacob is the mother of Rebecca. No, not Esau. Esau. Esau is Arabic again for, you know, excuse the language, Jesus. Esau is Arabic again for Yehoshua. Esau sounds like Esau, but it is the same thing. No, one is spelled E-S-U. No, come on, you come with that. You have the nerve to come and say one is spelled E-S-A-U? Brother, these languages are coming from a time before you had E-S and U, and at least, you know, the sound was there. That is why, if you really write Esau in its, let's say, Hebrew, you're not going to put E-S-A-R-U. And if you write Esau in Arabic, you ain't going to put I-S or A. I know you comprehend what I'm saying. So it doesn't have nothing to do with A, B, C, X, Y, nor Z. It has to do with the sound. Esau. Who am I talking about there? Esau. Esau is the same name. Esau, the brother of Jacob. Esau ibn Maryam al-Maseh. Esau is the son of Mary. Alright. So Esau is the Christ, the Messiah. The Quran said he's the Messiah, not me. Esau is the Messiah. Well, I'm saying it too. And Esau is the Son of God. Let's get this straight now. The whole Son of God cycle. Of course, I must refer to you the documentary 7, or refer you to it, or refer it to you. The documentary 7, part 1, well, the whole of it, where it shows you of the cycle of the sun and the importance of understanding the mechanics of the sun and how the sun relates to the Son of God, S-O-N-S-U-N, and why the halo is seen behind Christ and everything. Good. So the point is the concept of the charis, or the Christ. Charis is a Kemetic word, and don't let nobody tell you Christ is Greek. for Al-Mashiach. No. Charis is a Kemetic term, yo. I ain't got no problem with Al-Mashiach, yo. I got no problem with Al-Masih for sure. But I'm telling you that the Charis is what you would put in English letters now, KRST or QRST. And that's why Q, R, S, and T follow each other in the alphabet. QRST, UV, which is the rays of the sun. So the alphabet is Masonic. When we speak, we're speaking. That's why we spell words. It's spells we're casting, you know. We're under spell. You can understand what's going on, you know. So the concept of the Charis, this have nothing to do with Europe. The concept of the Charis is that he's the resurrected embodiment of God. The Son of God as such. The embodiment of God. God in flesh then. Ra in flesh is better. You know, the sustainer in flesh. El Shaddai in flesh. So in other words now, when you check it out, Christ is literally using the term God in flesh. Now I don't believe Jesus was God, you know, because I think, hey, hold on. No, I'm not on the third dimension, brother. I'm not there. I'm dealing with the allegory, the science. Let's stay focused. I'm not talking about Jerusalem in 2,000 years. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I just went across time span with Isa there a while ago, man. Isa and Joshua and Joshua the son of Nun, and Miriam the brother, the sister of Moses, and Miriam the sister of Aaron. Is Miriam the mother of Isa and Mary and Isa? I already bust the time barrier. That's not where I am. I'm dealing with the mystery system. Please don't be offended. I just gotta make sure everybody is on the same page as me here. You know, some people listen not to learn, you know. Let's just be frank. Well, not frank. Frank are people. I'm not frank at all. Let's just be Ethiopian here. Ethiops, our great king. Yes. Let's just be Ethiopian here and straight. Many ones listen to contradict, you know, and say, oh, I got a flaw here and there, and don't listen to the essence of what you're saying. So I'm saying the Charis concept is God in flesh, straight up. The feathered snake, the cycle of the sun in a human being, in a red man. You get me? The fire leaving heaven and touching the sea, it became the red man. It became red. Now, swim, born. That's why when you're too taken up in Sodom, you turn to a pillar of salt. The fleshly world take over. So Jacob now went to his father in the flesh of Esau. Esau. Who is Esau? Esau is the son of God. Jacob is the spirit of the Almighty, Jacob. And he put on skins like how Adam put on skins. And the same goat that he killed to put on the skin, you know, man. He brought the meat of the goat to his father to eat, which is deep science again. Esau. I-S-A. Isaac is spelled I-S-A. A-C. And Isaac was blind when he came. Doesn't mean he couldn't see, you know, man. The same Jacob was blind when he was blessing his children. Eli was blind when he was passing on the powers to Samuel. Horus the blind. That's why Ra gave up his eyes when he gave the powers to Heru. Its powers being passed on. Samson blind. So I'm just trying to show you now that the science is Jacob represents the fire, the spirit that exists eternally, the soul. God loved Jacob. Esau represents the physical being. That's why Jacob had to put on the clothes of Esau as such. His brother, the red man. and came before his father as Isa al-Masih, the son of God, got his blessings from Isa, AC, Isaac, Huansa. So Pinocchio now went into the fish and he came out. When Geppetto, whose name means Joseph, who's Joseph, the father of Pinocchio, remember he has a garden too, and Pinocchio touched the garden, touched the trees. Pinocchio carved the bug. Kepra, the dung beetle, is symbolic of the charis. It's symbolic of resurrection. That's why you see Kepra lifting up the sun. Pinocchio was banished from the garden and sent to the real world, where he became a real boy. Follow this. He became a real human being. This is key. When Geppetto sent Baba Yaga to retrieve him, what did he tell Baba Yaga? Cartoons we talking of now. He told Baba Yaga, disguise yourself as who? Red. Who? Red. One more time. Red Riding Hood. You see, this is why Christ walk on water. He's above the level of the sea water, above the level of the veiled world, above the self. This is why Moses now split the Red Sea in two. You follow me? So even if he did lift up his hand and the water parted, that's good stuff. But there is higher meditation to that. He split Moses, the water stood like pillars, brother. And Moses and his crew walked through untouched. And then when the Pharaoh came, the Pharaoh was drowned. Drowned the Pharaoh in the Red Sea. The Pharaoh is the life of lust and all the pagan idol worship of Egypt. All the demonism that Egypt projected was drowned in the Red Sea. And when I say Egypt, and when I say Pharaoh, I am not talking about Kemet. I am not talking about Tameri. I am not talking about Ursa, Ma'at, Ra, Setep, and Ra. You understand? So who you talking about? The burden of proof is not on me to say who they talking about. But I know for sure Moses didn't leave no Egypt, going through no Red Sea, going to the land that God promised Abraham. And that same land was from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. I mean, come on. What did you send us to school for? To be, graduated idiots? Abraham got a land from the river Euphrates to the river in Egypt, and Moses is leaving Egypt, going to the land that God gave Abraham. I mean, come on. So she now, Baba Yaga, came as Red Riding Hood. Red wears the hood. Papa Smurf wears red, while the others wear white. He's red, white, and blue. Snow White. Snow White is not who you see on the movie that Walt Disney created. That character that you see on the Walt Disney screen, her name is Rose Red. Now what I'm going to show you, maybe now you would believe what I'm showing you with Jacob and Esau, because I know there's some that, I don't think, but listen. Before Walt Disney took hold of Snow White, have you ever read the story of Snow White? Have you ever really read the story of Snow White? Maybe especially for my brothers in the United States of America and my sisters in the United States of America. I would believe that some of these storybooks may have been taken off of the shelf, because the Walt Disney business is a big thing, you know. So you may have been hidden. They hid you away from a lot of the older versions of these stories. I believe so. We used to have the storybook of Snow White and Rose Red. Now, Snow White was a little girl with white hair, and she always had on white clothes. You could say symbolic of a spiritual realm. And Rose Red, her twin, they look the same. But Rose Red, she usually wore colorful clothes, somewhere between red and black. Her hair was black, brunette as such, had on red lipstick, and I think she would have a rose sometime in her hair, and so she was Rose, and Snow White would have a white rose sometime. Good. Now Snow White is the real star. Her sister was like a sidekick. Who's her sister? Rose Red, the one with the black hair. Listen good, in man. Please listen good. Her sister, remember Jacob and Esau are brothers. Snow White and Rose Red are sisters. This is Walt Disney cartoon now. Rose Red. Herself is the one you see as Snow White today. Snow White. Her name is Lisa. And if you study voodoo, you would know in, I think it's Ifa tradition, but I know in the West African tradition, the god is referred to as Sobe Lisa. Lisa is a word for God. Lisa. So even if you're a sister and your name is Lisa, you have a serious name, eh? That's why Lisa without the L is Isa. Again. And Snow White, they say she died 3 times. One of the times she died by putting a comb in her hair. The Wicked Witch of the West, I guess, the Wicked Witch, gave her a comb, and she put the comb in her head, you see. The dreadlocks shouldn't be putting a comb in their head, and she died, you know. She was brought to life by the 7 dwarfs who work in mines. That's a deep science all by itself. Mines, you know, what do you get in mines? Gold, silver. They work in the minds of your children. But anyway, they brought her back to life twice, and on the 3rd occasion it was Prince Charming. Good. But anyway, one of the stories says that one of the times when Snow White died, the witch gave her the red part of the apple. Allegory, man. And she, the witch, ate the white part of the apple, and Snow White died eating the red part. Love Jacob, hate Esau. I'm showing you many people of the occult refer to this life as like the death part, and when you die is when you really go back to life. You know, there's a deep science with that. And if you're a believer, some of you believe that you know there's ever living life and you're going to pass on to the great sweet by and by, pearly gates, etc. Good. Now I'm showing you in the movie Snow White. Why is it called Snow? Where is Snow White? There's no Snow White in the movie. It's Rose Red. So why didn't Walt Disney refer to the movie as Rose Red instead of Snow White? Where is Snow White? What did Isaac tell Jacob when he came dressed up as Esau? He said, it sounds like, listen me, it sounds like Jacob, but it feels like. And if he was dim in vision and he wasn't fully blind, maybe he would say, and it kind of looked like Esau too, from the best of my visual abilities for now. All right, it must be Esau, if you say so. You understand? I'm showing you that what you got played in front of your eyes is the same mystery system that I just told you a while ago. Snow White represents the spirit. Snow White, the real Snow White now, the one that white, everything about her pearly white. She represents the spirit of, well, whoever she's dealing with. The fire that touched the water, and then she became Rose Red. Like Jacob became Esau Al-Masih, the Son of God. That is why on screen you are looking at Rose Red, but you are referring to her as Snow White. And if you think all of what I'm saying is just off the deep end, Walter Disney, not just Walt. Now let's get his name clear. Walter. If you take the L out of his name, you have water. Now this is again the science. I know you would comprehend that water is very key to all that we have been saying here for this episode. And Mickey Mouse, the first major cartoon for him, Steamboat Willie, as you could see, he was manning his own ship. All the ancient gods deal with the ship, you know. Ra has his solar bark, Sokar in his bark, Heru in his bark, Osiris coming on his ship, Noah building his ark. Moses had an ark. You could say, you could put it allegory. Moses had an ark and Noah had an ark. Alright, in fact Moses was put in an ark as a baby as well and sent up the river. So come on. Jonah and his ship, Christ and his fleet of ships and the fisherman crew, Popeye the sailor man, which Popeye is the next level altogether. Popeye, pop means father, I, yes I, and his eyes popped out. Popeye, one eye, the one eye, you know the science of the one eye. Okay, the ship, Pinocchio in Walt Disney's movie, the movie when he went into the whale, he went in with a ship and a fish, a goldfish. I'm telling you, in the bowl. Steamboat Willie. If you observe the Mickey Mouse ear symbol, the Mickey Mouse ear symbol is the exact symbol of the molecular structure of water. 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen literally make up what we call H2O. The structure of what we call water, which is the life giver and sustainer. Walter Disney, some say a 33rd degree Grand Mason. Who am I to argue? He obviously was chosen to leave codes beyond codes in his movies. As I said, a lot of what is being even portrayed today, Lion King and Pocahontas, and you can't compare them. I study them all. You cannot compare them, not even Matrix. To some of these Donald Duck cartoons, Goofy, Pluto, even Tom and Jerry, as I mentioned earlier, even the Flintstones. And I could do countless of programs on all of these things and dissect them for you. As you could see how much time it took, you know, to be very clear in what I was saying, to connect even from how we began. How did we begin? Thomas Chippendale. We had to make that connection to show you. And we gave a little pep history on the organization that he's a part of. We may have to go at another time into, you know, the media, and we make the news. Don't take these phrases for them. We make the news, you know. We make the news. Is that so? North, east, west, and south? News. N-E-W-S. We make the news. That's why you have a breaking. We have a breaking story. Breaking story. Why are you breaking the story? Give us all the story. Let's hear. Well, we're going to send a reporter to cover the news. Cover the news. Why are you covering the news? Well, we have a bulletin, news flash. Take your time, read the news. Let us understand what's going on. These killers make the news. So when you understand the media, who mediate between you and the truth, when you understand their role, and not just their role, but their foundation, where they come from. That's a different thing altogether. When you comprehend now the history, the founding fathers of the new world as such, and how they have been coded with the occult, and we can go to the different cartoons and super zeros and show you where all of this science is hidden, and connect it again to the Bible. There's so much things, I must say, that I can say. But yes, as I said, that's where we began. Chippendale, we took time to explain the story of Jacob and Esau, or even before that, we gave the story of Joseph the woodsman, Geppetto and his magic trees. The Kepra, again, is the Jiminy Cricket. You know, Pinocchio touching the trees and coming out, hey, you know what? You just have to watch this again. That's what you have to do. And soak it in one more time. You know, even I myself who just did it, you know, I myself would have to soak it in a couple times. You should soak it in. I'm very thankful again, you know, to all the brothers and sisters that you know, have contacted me even via the WhatsApp to show appreciation for the work that has been done. I do appreciate, I'm telling you, I appreciate, love, as we would say, you know, your support. Well, when I say support, I mean just, well, you pay attention, so you're paying something, so it's a support. So I give thanks, you know. And even those who do support, because there are a few who would definitely even just donate to the work that we're doing. You know, I haven't fully broadcasted to the world what it is we do, you know. But we run our own institute, my brothers and sisters, specifically. We give our lectures every Sunday. We give cooking classes, yoga classes, karate classes, different things that we are involved with. We're involved with a program where we feed the elderly every month. The youth into school program where we have essay competitions on the African history and pride, and we make sure we get gifts of high standard to give them. You know, even this December that just went, you know, I'm not into no Santa fraud business, but I had a competition for the children of the island, you know, where they had to draw an African version of the Christ and his mother, you know, no Christmas tree, no ho ho ho, nobody like that, and they came and they did it. And listen to this, listen to this, family. The gift was, for example, usually when I'm having, you know, like essay competitions, and so I would get gifts like laptops and tablets, and some people don't like that, you know. Some people actually say, hey, you shouldn't be giving the children these gifts. But hey, listen, man, these children are going to write about their African history. What does African history mean to me? That may be the title. That don't mean nothing to these children around here. Trust me. I don't know where you are in the world, but just how it is there, it is here. That don't mean nothing to them. But when I visit their school and I show them, well, you can win this new laptop, they say, wow. So they go on their own laptop now and they're going to type in African history and read something. That's a spark. To me, they're all winners. They may not see it so because they didn't win, but they're all winners. So, you know, to me, that's a blessing. But this time, for this one, this December now, this is the first time I've been doing this. I had an art competition, and as I said, I'd asked them to draw a black version of an African version of Christ and his mother, and the prize was actually a gift certificate to a store by the name of The Toy Box. I mean, you could understand, December, you don't know how it is. It's Christmas, as they call it, and you know, everybody into that. Believe me, that's what they into around here. So I would say, covertly, I infiltrated that. You know, I didn't hide my way from it, and I went on many different radio programs. I do my own radio program. I have a radio program I do every Tuesday evening. But I went on media, did a news item. I have news conferences from time to time when I'm going to do a new program, new project, and the children partook. You know, they drew a picture of the Black Christ and his mother. you know, so we're very thankful for that. So I was saying all of that to, you know, just give you an idea of what it is that we do, and many other things. As you know, I travel internationally, and I do lectures in many different parts of the Caribbean. So wherever you are as well, you know, you can contact me as it relates to coming to your city or to your town to do lectures, seminars, workshops. I'm sure you know I also deal with what is known as transformational speaking. I have videos right on my YouTube site directly dealing with these topics, power of thought, gods, and all of these ones. You can check them out. I lecture in different universities and colleges, University of the West Indies in the Trinidad, and Institute of Critical Thinking. I've lectured, I should say, in different universities in London, you know, so we do our thing. And I'm always available for anyone who even just want to say hi and give thanks for whatever. I appreciate, you know, I like to meet new people all of the time, you know. It's a network. This is a serious thing that we're in here, and as I said, I'm available to come to your town, whatever the case is, you know. I'm ready for that. Give thanks again for your presence. Give thanks for your patient listening. Give thanks for all the love. As I would always say, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Hotep and love, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Yeah, man.
Come down fast now, boom the acoustic. Make them done know from them born and grow. Yes, the tender herb from them born and grow. Rastafari the old bedo. And he ever was so, you know. He ever was so, and it ever was so, you know. He ever was so. There's the palace down here so in a ghetto. It ever was so, you know. You born in a ghetto, you know. He ever was so. Elevate themselves for distinction, and them still seem to know that Selassie rule here take us up. And he ever was so, you know. He ever was so, you know. He ever was so. He ever was so. He ever was so. Selassie rule the anciency. It ever was so. His eminency from the ancient lion of white bull of Genesis. He carried more Torah. And it ever was so, you know. He ever was.